Now, Jack, after the intervention we tried to have with you after 5, you've still
Yeah.
nonetheless subjected yourself to Far Cry 6 quite a bit this week.
Look, I'm having a great time with Far Cry 6, okay? Um, is it a change of the formula? It is not a change of the formula. Like, if you are not a massive fan of open world grindy games, you are not going to enjoy it. But it was the other day when I was riding a unicorn, throwing sticky grenades at a convoy of cars and trying to take one of them and then blowing up a tank, that I realised this shit is just good fun. It's not gonna like revolutionize gaming, but it's just wacky. And the thing that makes me happy about it is once you get off the first island, you immediately have access to the entire map. So you can basically go to like the hardest points of the map where the most soldiers are, where it's toughest in the game, and you can get the weapons from there if you want, if that's what you feel like you want to do, or you can just play through the main story, or you can go and do all the side missions, you can take out checkpoints, you can do basically do whatever you want. It's just instant access to pretty much the whole game, and I just think like I just immediately just started fucking around, and it's...
I gotta be honest, between the setting and what you just said there, it sounds like a first-person shooter, an FPS Just Cause game.
Yeah, it kind of is a bit like that, and it has a bit of Just Cause, it has a bit of Saints Row about it has a bit of classic GTA about it, and like I feel like the thing I didn't really mention last week when I spoke about it is this game is freaking beautiful. Like, this game looks unbelievable on PS5. It is incredible. Like, the vistas in the game, the different environments that you can be in and see, like when the changes in weather happen from daytime to nighttime, you know, whether you're flying a helicopter or like riding around on horses or pretty much whatever you're doing, like everywhere you look in Yara, the fictional country, just looks unbelievable. They've made like all of these different areas and towns kind of feel lived in, and they have like a real good feel to them. And I'm honestly kind of blown away by the scale of it and how big the map is and how much room there is to explore. The thing that I think that they got right is how many fast travel locations you can unlock, because this thing to navigate, like if I was going to go to the top of the map, to the furthest corner of the map, it's bigger than any game I've ever played. I don't know if there's like some sort of record for like a big open world game and how big the map is, but this thing is goddamn huge.
Bigger than GTA 5? Because that's like my reference point for big.
What
would it be? GTA 5 or Breath of the Wild would be the biggest?
It feels bigger than both.
I feel GTA 5 is bigger than that, but Witcher dwarfs that.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see your comparison to Witcher, Dave, if you spent like 5 minutes on this game just to see how goddamn
I
big it is.
probably won't spend 5 minutes on this.
No, you don't necessarily have to. But look, I'm really enjoying it. It is a lot of fun to play. Like the combat feels satisfying. The weapons are wacky. Some of the vehicles that you can have are really cool. Like there's this little. My favorite is like a little sort of helicopter boat thing that's like a little pod, almost like Da Vinci like in its kind of design and size, that's just made out of parts. There's like a rough and ready feel to everything in this game, like all the weapon customization options, like you're part of a resistance fighting against a fascist dictator, and you just pretty much you're collecting up scraps and bits and pieces and stuff to like help you kind of build your weapons out and your arsenal that you're collecting during the game. And yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be part of a resistance, and I just really enjoy it. I don't know what it is about Far Cry in particular, because a lot of games like this I bounce off. I've bounced off Assassin's Creeds in the past where I've just thought like the scale of this is too much for me. There's just something about Far Cry, like with its sort of combination of like usually relatively interesting characters and themes and setting, and like the combination of like a irreverent story and things like wacky shit going on. Like, as in any Far Cry, all the side missions are hilarious. There's one about a YouTuber who's like walking through a tank plantation because he wants to get lots of views. So like there's loads of tanks just firing weapons on this like test range, and he's making you film him the whole time. It's very good. And yeah, like I mentioned, the unicorn has been designed for like a little girl's quinceañera, but you just end up unlocking it when you're like looking on the treasure hunt, and then you can just ride around Yara on a unicorn, which is really cool.
All right. I need to like stop and ask about this here then, right? So you've mentioned like elements of wackiness. So the tone of this game, right? Now I didn't play my last experience with a Far Cry game was Far Cry 3, and I played a bit of Blood Dragon? Was that what the DLC was called? Yeah. So I'm not going to count Blood Dragon because that was DLC and that was, intentionally meant to be what it is.
Non-canon.
Yes, non-canon is fair enough. But from what I saw of 4 and definitely 5, those games felt very, straight-laced, kind of po-faced, no kind of self-awareness or wackiness. Yeah. It sounds like there's a little bit of a shift in that tone, and you mentioned the likes of like a Saints Row. Is it that extreme a degree in terms of the tonal change and shift?
Well, in these games, Mark, you play a character called John Farcry. I'm sure that's what Jack was going to say.
Like the main character is called Danny Rojas, which is really amusing for anybody that watches Ted Lasso, because he's like the Mexican striker who says football is life quite a lot. And but you obviously Danny's unisex, so you can be either female or male in the game, and everything kind of still clicks in. But yeah, Mark, I think to answer your question, yes, it does feel like a bit of a tonal shift. There is a serious storyline. There is a not Giovanni Ribisi, but Giancarlo Esposito, main character, who is like, basically constraining the nation and being a fascist dictator, and you are fighting against him. But there's lots of mental shit going on. Like I said, the first character and like the first like sort of buddy that you get, where you have like, animals that kind of will go and do different things for you, is a fucking alligator wearing a little jersey. Like, that's insane. You can get a dog on wheels called Chorizo. You can get like a fucking panther, which is, by the way, by far, like, it's overkill. Like, this panther just eats people and they turn into dust. It's amazing.
I will say, I feel like more games do need to have a panther as an attack weapon.
Dude, this panther is so OP. You go into a base, point at something, the panther just mauls shit to death. And I'm sorry, but it's really funny, and it's really
maybe I do need to play Far Cry 6 now.
It's just a good time, okay? Like, the po-facedness has kind of gone away. It is what it is. It's a Ubi game. There is the collector element or whatever. But if you just want to play the storyline and do some wacky shit and have a good time, you can. And more than me following the storyline, 'cause the actual main story missions, I've probably only done like maybe 10, 15 so far. I'd imagine there's at least 2 or 3 times that. I've just been fucking about for the last 3 or 4 days in the map, and just really having a good time. And that, at the end of the day, is what I kind of want from a video game sometimes.
It kind of like sounds like you've harkened back to, the first time we was introduced to the sandbox genre, I imagine for all of us would have been GTA 3. And you spent just as much time fucking around and just fucking around. There's a certain spark in your voice that feels like you're harkening back to that sort of time.
Yeah, I'm just having a good time with Far Cry 6. I knew that I wanted to play it because I play every Far Cry when they come out, and I usually enjoy them. But it's way more fun than 5. Like, it is way more fun. I don't think that I can say that it's anything like that's gonna, really challenge any of my Game of the Year thoughts and feelings. But it's definitely above a ham sandwich. Just because, like, the little bit of the peek into the world that I got last week when I started playing it, I was like, okay, yeah, it's a bit far. But when the map opened up and I started going places and doing shit, I had a fucking grand old time. So yeah, Far Cry 6, absolutely mental, lots of fun, but still a bit of a newbie grind 'em up if you're not into that shit. Maybe not for you.